Hello dearies, welcome back to the craft kitchen and another episode of, finally making my first ever lap book. So in the last video I've been starting to make some pockets for this, so I've actually only did one of those pages because it was all very confusing to me. Like this. Here we do have, let me get a piece of paper, 2 pockets here and here, and then these tag flaps, all flat. And what I actually already had to make was a sort of tiny little spine, bit of a more of a gusset than a spine, I'd say. And as you can see, my craft mat arrived. Just plain grey with no brand on it. So today I want to start decorating or making the pockets for this page. But before I'm going to do this, I will have to glue down the page that's going on here to the left. And for this I'm going to be using a music sheet, double-sided. So let me get one that's already coffee dyed. So I really like this one with tarantella in Latin and Cyrillic writing on it, really. So this will go on here like this. So for gluing on this page, I guess I want to use this line here, so I don't cover my map, like this, and then just fold it over, so this makes a flap of 1 centimeter, which actually is quite enough. Oh yeah, I almost forgot, I have to reinforce this. So let me get my trusted inked medical tape for this. Wonderful. So let's see. Where? This is the page I want to work with. So this is the one we've been making last week, or no, not last week, a few days ago. I guess it was on Monday. And now I want to work on this page. So again, my very professional prototype. And you open this. Here you have the tab flaps. And this is what I want to make on this page. So a pocket with a flap, 2 pockets with a flap on a flap, and then flap down, flap up to put something behind here. I guess it will be writing space, because like I told you, I already had to make sort of a tiny spine here. And with this I limited myself to there. The space I can use for this. I already picked out the papers I want to use for this, and also I decided to make the flap envelope that closes the two flaps here a bit different, because yeah, I kept this envelope where all the postage documents were attached to or put in, and then this was glued with tape, but not very neat, like you can see, air bubbles, but I really like it. And it has this big window. I already inked this with alcohol ink to aid it, and I want to use this here to close my flaps. And of course I will have to put something behind the window, and I will also have to attach a flap here. Maybe for this I'm going to be using fabric, we'll see. And for backing those flaps I am going to use this side of this part of the map where just the Indian Ocean is shown, because it's all blue, and when I use this to back my flaps, you can see, yes, of course, all the blue around here, but I think this looks very neat on top of this. This is also a full page out of Tracie Fox's digital kit Despatch. I just shrinked it a bit so it will fit on here, and I too will have the sort of map frame. And since I glued this on very crooked, you will see this, but I like it. I really like it. So before I glue down this one, I will have to attach this envelope, otherwise my fabric will be on top of this. I don't know if I like it. And of course I will have to make the flaps that go on top and at the bottom here. So I will have to mark where my background picture will sit in the end. So about here, let's see if this is straight. So I know my printable goes from here to here. Then I do have the marked corners here, so I know it is down here. And because I printed my flaps the same width as my decorative sheet, I will have to figure out how much of a border I want to have to the left and the right for my flap. Where? There. So I can't use the full width of the map because it's the same like this, of course. But I can make this like 3 millimeters wider on each side of this print. And this I printed out at 20, I guess. Oh no, it's actually 17.5 centimeters. So yeah, this is 17.6 centimeters. So I will have to have actually 18 centimeters in width. So I do have 2 millimeters on the right and 2 millimeters on the left. And this is, let's see, 12.3. So I will have to have 12.7 centimeters in height. So in length and width and whatnot. So let's see. You won't see, well, I guess this would look nice if you have just like a hint of the letters behind the print, because of course if you know the word, your brain is filling up the rest, so you actually know it's written Asien, so Asia in German. Oh, this is nice. So let's see. Yep. When I sort of fold my page like here, this is, I guess, yeah, this will be 3 millimeters. So I want to place this here. Do I then still have enough for, oh, just enough. Ui. Just enough. Yeah, this will do. Again, marking the corners where I have to glue this. And here at the long side. And let's see, down here as well, like so. So first I want to make a score line for my fold like here, I guess. Let's see. Oh yeah, really like it. Really like it. And then I want to cut this, oh, I don't know, not measuring, just eyeballing like here, 1.5 centimeters. That'll do, like so. And then I do have, oh, come here, marked this down here, so about here, and I want to cut it a bit lower, let's say like here. Let's see. Yeah, that's great. And there's my mark. Yes. And then where's my marking? Where's my corner mark? Can't see it. Oh, there you are. So my corner mark is about here, and I want it to be like about 2 millimeters wider, like so. Yes. And again, cutting here. For the moment, I'm keeping this. I don't know if I'm going to use it again. So let's see. Oh, this looks just great. This looks awesome. And I guess I'm going to be using some green ink to go around here, just to have the slightest hint of green around this bluish corner, because this looks, yeah, a bit boring, right? So let's see. I do have Distress Oxide peeled paint here, and I guess I am going to like this, but first I'm going to test it on this strip here. And again, I will need paper underneath. So let's see. Oh yes. Yep, I like this. This is matching the other map colors quite well. Yeah, I like it. So I'm going around here with peeled paint, just at the edges, more or less. Do I want to? Yeah, I think so. I want to also age this a bit with walnut stain ink, not oxide ink, because I don't want to cover the green I just put on. So now, and because the other flap of course is the same size, so the prints are both the same, I'm just going to use this as a template. Then I'm going to glue on both. And since this is glossy paper and I've been using distress inks, this will take a while to dry. I'm not going to be using my heat tool to dry this up because, yeah, like I already told you, this is plastic coated, so very cheap paper, and it will just bubble up, and I don't want this in this case, in this specific case. Sometimes this might look really nice, and I'm gonna be making use of the time and just get my new glasses so I actually can see what I'm doing here without having to sort of put my head like 1 meter away from the desk. So I'll see you in 2 hours and you will see me in, I don't know, 2 seconds. Yes, I'm back with my new glasses. Yay! No scratches anymore, and I actually can see what I'm doing here, and my arms are no longer too short. So yes, actually the next day, because when I came back home yesterday, my son and some of his classmates decided to learn for the exams next week. But it was actually very loud, very noisy. Well, I couldn't have learned like this, but yeah, I hope for them it works. So yeah, therefore I've been already gluing these cover pieces onto my flaps and sewed all around. These are actually pieces of the office paper digital kit from Bohemian Crafting, also linked down below in the description box. Yeah, and when I turn the flaps over, of course they are upside down, because I wanted this word, ASEAN, so Asia, to be readable on this side. So yeah, they're upside down, so I have to cover them. And for this I'm just using some sort of design papers from a local store. So these are just, yeah, sort of 8 by 8 papers. In Germany they are 20 by 20 centimeters. And I want to make a closure for those 2 flaps. So they are just the tiniest bit apart from each other, like maybe 2 millimeters. And for this I'm going to be using my circle punch and a bit of craft card and also an offcut of, yeah, this. And I also already prepared what I'm going to be needing for the side flaps. So for this envelope that will go here with the flap. And I decided not to use fabric for this because this would make all this too bulky. Yeah, because I already limited myself by making this 3 millimeters, so no, 4 millimeters, so 1/8 of an inch spine here. So I'm gonna be using a cut-off strip of my map pieces here, and I'm going to cover this with inked medical tape. So first, let's finish up the closures for the flaps. And I want to attach them with brads, inked all around already. And finding the middle of this is, yeah, actually quite easy. You just take your triangular ruler, find the center, mark it like here, then again turn, find the center again, so, there. And then just connect your two markings here and you will have the middle. I'm going to be making this for this one as well. And then I'm just using my pokey tool to make holes in here. Oh no, I'm not. If I would use tiny threads for this, I would just use my pokey tool, but I actually want to use, where do I have them? Two of my rusted brads, and they are a bit bigger, so they have been golden. I just sort of scratched them, so prepared them with sandpaper, and then I've put them in my rust water for about, I don't know, 1 week, maybe 10 days. So now I do have these rusted, pre-rusted brad hats here. Of course also the leg are a bit rusty. So let's see, I want to make a slit so the legs can go in there comfortably. Yes, so putting this in there, and because they are quite cheap, I don't know if you can see this, they are not exactly touching my sort of button here, so I'm leaving them a bit up, and this way I can wrap around my baker's twine. So this is not real baker's twine, I just found this in our Euro shop. They call it craft twine. It's 45 meters and I got a lot of colors. Yay, love it. So let's see if this will do. I do have one that's already open. I got black, green, red and blue, and they also had like yellowish, orangey, but I didn't like this color. This was a bit too bright for using it for, you know, vintage antique style thingies. So yeah, this will do. I love it. And I will have to put those, of course, here through my papers. I haven't decided yet where to put it, so let me just attach the other one. So I really like that those not very well attached legs are sort of acting like spaces. This is quite brilliant. Let's see. I'm not going too deep, so too low with this. You know, deep and low are sort of the same in German, so I always mix this up. Sorry for that. I know it's confusing. Yeah, I will have to find the middle here, so I'm going to place this on this row down here. Oh, I'm going to be using my triangle ruler, because this way I can find the exact middle. You know, 0 here, and then I just arrange my ruler. These triangular rulers are very useful for junk journaling, so for like every paper craft, I'd say. So there. And this one, let's see, I want to place a bit above the word notes. So again, finding my middle. There you are. And of course I will have to cut a slit in here, because when I cut a just a hole, punch a hole like a 5mm hole, the breads will just turn, or will be able to turn, and then eventually, yeah, maybe the legs will tear the paper underneath. So I'm going with slits for this. Here. And here. Well, this doesn't look like the middle to me. What did I do here? Or is it just because it's a bit uneven? Well, it's actually the middle. Okay, sort of strange. Yeah. I'm putting glue down to this circle. And then I will... Oh, I should have tested my slit first. And then I will put my bread through here. Let's see. Yes, like so. And the other one is also, yeah, quite all right. So now putting the legs of my bread through here, through the slit I just made, and then I'm gluing on my circle to this. Could have made this before cutting the slit and then cut through all of the layers, but this would have been a bit too hard for my liking, so I'm doing it this way. And then I'm just, so let's see, do I want these long legs? No, I don't. I have these really sharp electrician scissors here, so for cutting cable, wire and stuff, and no one is allowed to use them but me, because my son already, yeah, destroyed one pair of really sharp scissors. So like these, yeah, fine scissors, I don't know the word for those, because he was cutting his guitar strings with them. He now has his own pliers for this and is not allowed to use mine anymore, because I'm also using them to make jewelry. And it's not funny if you want to cut something and don't have the right pliers for this, and at the same time you are not able to hold everything together while, yeah, looking for some working pliers. Let's see. Again, I'm going to secure this with medical tape. You could also use double-sided tape, or maybe washi or masking tape, whatever, but I really trust this double-sided, this masking tape. No, medical tape. So I'm not going to be using the already colored, so inked. I'm just using a plain white strip here. And securing my bread, and at the same time, yeah, sort of secure the cut edges of the legs. Like so, and the same I'm going to be doing for this one. So by using this bluish print from my design paper, I sort of got the color from the frame into my center, so onto the center, and I didn't pay attention of how to make the slit on purpose, because I didn't want the writing on here to be like aligned or straight. And now I'm going to glue these to the back side. I have to be careful with this because I have to remember this will just flap up. So I have to place my decorative paper this way, so it's in the right direction, and also down here. But before I do this, I do have another tip for you. So let me get out my little drawer. So if you are not as lucky as I am to have to have this sort of spaces here, I don't know what's with my throat this morning, you just put your bread, I can't do this anymore, through a piece of card. Let's see, let me get another bread for this. So yeah, let's say you don't have this these spaces I did have here. You just cut yourself a piece of cardboard or thicker cardstock and then place your bread here in this slit. Put it through your reinforcement or your paper, then place your bread through the hole you just made, and then fold over the legs without removing this piece of cardboard, because this at this point is your spacer. And when everything, only when everything is attached, you remove the spacer, and this will be raised for, let's say, about 2 millimeters in this case. Now glued on my flaps both, and yay! I didn't glue on anything upside down. Yay! It's all in the right direction. So now that I do have those, let me open this. Well, I was thinking when you open these, you might want to have sort of a, let's say, similar color scheme to this. But dearies, I'm not quite sure anymore if I want to keep this here in the middle or if I'm going to print out another piece, because in my mind opening this is destroying this sort of illusion of this very official sort of compartment. Well, let's see what happens when I glue on the, where is it? The envelope. Maybe I'm gonna be changing my mind, or I just leave the sort of backdrop here. I have no idea yet, so let me take this out. See, this is what I mean. You open this and you don't get like this very harsh surprise. I don't know how to say this, but yeah. Well, now I want to attach this envelope here. And for this I'm going to be using an offcut from one of the map pages, and I'm going to, let's see, reinforce the strip from one side with medical tape. So let me get this away first. Trying to get this more or less straight. Well, I didn't glue on the tape straight, so yeah. Yeah, it worked. So, and now I want to cover this with a piece of packaging, brown packaging. So this will be a bit more sturdy. And on top I want to use this for making slit pockets. I've been trying out some stacked pockets, so staggered pockets. I didn't like this, so I'm going to be using this piece and make the same slit pockets I made here. So yeah, I know this is the height and the width of my envelope pocket here, the back side. So I will place this sort of in the middle, like so, just glue it on. And then I'm going to be making the slits, 2 or 3. I guess it will only be 2 slits for my pockets. And of course, yeah, placing also the reinforcements here. This is annoying me. So yeah. And again, using bookbinding glue for this, because yeah, I could just use glue stick and a liquid glue, so for example art glitter glue for the edges here, but I don't know of any glue stick that's really reliably, so it's holding like forever. Eventually all of them will come off at some point. So yeah, I'm using bookbinding glue. I could use sort of homemade adhesive for this, so like methyl cellulose paste or even wheat starch paste, but this will be much too wet and take too long to dry, so I'm going to be using bookbinding glue for this. And I like to put my glue on the thicker material first and then just add a bit of glue at the edges of the thinner paper, so, and then just place it. So I will have to mark sort of where I will have to put my glue. I'm not going to do this right at the edge, but a bit underneath. So I will have, yeah, sort of a inner frame for this. And if you put your glue on the thicker material first, you are preventing your thinner paper from warping the tiniest bit. Not completely, but it won't warp that much. So now this will go under some heavy books for about 10 minutes, and in the meantime I'm going to be making the slit reinforcements for my pockets here. So first I will have to find out the height. I guess I want them to be about 1 centimeter. Yes. And let's say 7.5 centimeter. Does this work down here as well? Yeah. I don't want to glue over the sewing here at the edges, because this would just look wrong. So those are ready to go on my pocket background. And also I want to, yeah, sort of, which way do you go? Like this. Put a piece of this here into the envelope to cover the back of this. And like I told you already, this special page really looks like a pinboard in a post office to me. So yeah, I really want to use this, especially this number, of course. Well, I do have to use it anyway, because when you look at it, even if I place this like here, there would be the lower edge visible here, so I absolutely have to use this. Well, it looks just great, right? But somehow I have to get it in there without wrinkling it all up, which isn't that easy. using wet glue. So yeah, I really will have to cut this open. I don't want to. I really don't want to. Maybe only at one end will do the trick. I don't know. Will it? Let's see. No. It's still a bit tight, so I will have, really will have to cut this open on both sides. Oh no! And maybe I'm gonna be making extra gussets to go in there. I guess that would be the smart thing to do, but because when I glue this together like this, I will miss at least, yeah, let's say 2 millimeters. Can I take this off? Yay! Yeah. So I'm going to glue this on here, like so. And no, first I'm going to be attaching my gussets to the left and the right. Yeah, I made two 1 centimeter gussets, really tiny, because I don't want this to open too wide. Again, I want this to dry a bit faster, so I'm using art glitter glue to put my gussets on. And I'm going to cut them after. So, like this. And on the other side as well. Also going to cut this after. Now I'm going to fold them open again and place my decorative paper here in the middle, in between my gussets, and up to the edge, to the opening edge here. Do I want to reinforce this before I glue it on or after? Let's first glue this on and then reinforce the opening like this. Is it the right way up? Yeah, of course it is. Ha! I do have a mark. This is the fold of my envelope. Ha! So I can't just glue it on wrongly. So this part is still a bit damp, but I can already cut on it. I can feel it here. I won't tear it. So let's see. I want to place those. Oh, I forgot to ink them. Like here and here, I'd say. So these slits look much bigger than those do, and they are not. They just look like it, because this entire reinforcement is much smaller than this here. Well, I also had to cut more out of the middle, like only 1 millimeter, because of the shortness of this reinforcement. This hole and the line here were looking odd, just odd. So I had to cut it a bit more open, but they are actually the same. So let me get the other part. Now I will have to glue this part onto my envelope to make my pockets, and for this I'm of course gluing all around, and I'm also placing a glue line here because I want this to be a pocket and this, and I don't want something or anything to slide down to the bottom of this. For this I'm just going to be using art glitter glue, so this can dry fast. Also I do have to use up the glue that's in this bottle at the moment because it's already drying. Well, not drying, but getting a bit less liquid. So yeah, trying to use this up. Let's see, I'm making a glue line just here, like this. And no, I didn't reinforce the inside of my envelope because it already was glued down like perfectly, so perfect to me. So nothing seepage here on my envelope. But as you can see, of course, something went wrong when cutting the top part, or maybe even the bottom part of the envelope. I have no idea. So I have to be a bit careful here with my glue, so I don't glue the envelope shut. So let's see. Yeah, I guess I cut the inside of the envelope a bit crooked. So yeah, going to let this dry here. And of course I have to close up my envelope again with my gussets. So making sure I didn't glue the gussets to my envelope, to the inside of my envelope. Let's see. Well, yes. And down here again, yes. Still open. And now we do have a pocket here and another one here on top for maybe, for example, 2 tags or just some journaling cards, I'd say. And this now has to go, get this out of the way, on here, like so. And yeah, I decided to use another printable. Of course I did. So I printed out one of Margaret's new freebies from her 10-page freebie kit. Like this. Let's see. This and this. And when I fold this over, like so, I will have a bit of room here. Let's see. Would you please stay under there? Like maybe like this, I'd say. So this will be my fold, sort of. I have to straighten this down here, the tiniest bit. So let's have a look again. Placing this here a bit away from my sort of backdrop, so my flaps here don't get in the way of this flap when I'm closing this. And yeah, really, I like it. Wow, but I just found out I will have to add a bit more ink here, because this just looks, I don't know, sort of not finished, right? So a flap closure for the flap closures. Yay! And now I'm thinking, should I sew around here? I already do have the sewing up here and down here. No, I'm not going to sew around all this. This would be a bit much, I guess. So I'm just going to glue this on. So we do have a background here, although this also looks nice, but with all those flaps, just no, we have to cover the glue flaps here, sort of. Where's my glue eraser? I do have a bit of glue here. Well, I guess I will have to cover this. Yeah, like I told you, we're just making sort of the base of the lap book at the moment. So everything, this and maybe also this, will be decorated further somehow. This definitely, but I already am really in love. Oh, I love it. I really, really love it. So let's add the closure. If I can find the beginning of this here. Well, I guess, there you are. So just maybe I want to add a bit of glue. First I want to cut this off, because this will never be straight again. This was tucked under here at the roll. So let me unravel this a bit. And I want to put a really tiny bit of glue here so it doesn't unravel too much. I do have this bottle with bookbinding glue with a tiny opening for things like this. Let's see, do I want this to be as white as it is? I don't think so. So I'm gonna be using some ink and my blending tool, or I want to do this like in a wet state. Yeah, I guess I want to use my mediums in a wet state for this. So let me just check how much we will need. Like so. Maybe there. And I'm gonna be coloring this with let's see, how yellow is this? I really want to use brushed corduroy, because this gives most of the time the slightest bit of, yeah, a greenish yellow color. I love it, I really love it, but you know what? I do have a complete roll of this, so I'm, going to give it a try. Brushed corduroy. There you are. I really love this color. So putting a bit on my mixed media mat here, like so. Well, maybe a bit more. Like so. Bit of water. Just look at this color. So this yellow greenish color, I really like it. So putting this in here, and then I'm going to dry this with my heat tool just to get the oxidization going, and I'm going to color this a second time, so hopefully we will get these very, very different shades. So first drying and then just dabbing this in here, not coloring it completely, and hopefully I will get these greenish, bluish, it just looks like rusted copper effect. So this green and blue, I really love it, but I guess it's not going to happen on this fabric. Too bad. Well, I can actually find the different shades in here, but if you look at it just like this, it's only yellowish blue. Let me pick this up. There you go. See, that's what I mean, like this green and blue. Well, a bit of the blue is also from the twine. Well, these colors are just great. So yeah, not going to happen with the fabric. Where is my... But let's see. Maybe this is already a color that will fit. I don't know. I guess I want this to be a bit darker. So yeah, doing the obvious, going in with walnut stain. Well, the color is already almost what I want it to be, but yeah, because of the brush corduroy in the background, very yellowish. Maybe I'm going to make a new one. We'll see. Well, yeah, still very yellowish, so I'm going to be using another piece, and let's see what will happen. Then, again, picking this up. So let's see. Nope, you are brush corduroy, you have to go in there. I will need walnut stain for this. Like so. And of course, another piece of twine. Well, the color is already quite different, as you can tell. But still a bit too yellow for this. So yeah, again, coloring this with walnut stain 2 times actually. Coloring, drying, recolor, or color again. Well, yeah, still inky fingers, but I guess I got most of it off already. So yeah, let's just continue, because inky fingers just means you've been having fun. So again, I'm going to unravel this here at the end, the tiniest bit, and then fix it with a bit of glue so it doesn't unravel completely. So yeah, I guess this is quite a nice outcome so far. So let me open up this side so we can actually see the progress, sort of. So this was the first page. I sort of decorated with these 3 fold-out tags, these flap tags, and 2 pockets, 2 large pockets. And today we made this one with this fold-out window envelope and also pockets here at the back of the envelope, and of course here's also a pocket, and then this folds open to the top and this one to the bottom, and then there's this ledger behind all this. And like I told you, this is not the final state, this is just sort of the base of this all. And yeah, if you're like me and thinking this took quite some time, I figured I could have done this in really less time when I just had made this and just maybe filmed it without explaining. But actually the explaining takes some time. But this is really important to me to explain everything I do, because sometimes when I'm watching YouTube videos and these videos say they are tutorials, sometimes I can't figure how they come from here to there, because either the explaining is missing or yeah, a whole part of the tutorial is missing, like with my tissue box journal tutorial. Well, I uploaded a video with the missing part, so bear with me. So yeah, I really feel the need to explain all everything I do to you, so you can follow my steps and maybe even get some ideas, or maybe yeah, some different point of view on your own project. Because you just found, okay, there was something I could have done differently, or you get from my explanation to your solution. Maybe, I don't know. This happened sometime to me and I'm really thankful for this. So yeah, explaining all this is very important to me. I hope you've had a bit of fun. At least the tiniest bit of fun. And are not too disappointed that this is all really taking very long at the moment. I'm trying to keep this sort of short, but yeah, it's not that easy, to be honest. But yeah, like I told you, I really want to explain how I get from here to there. So, part 2 of my lapbook adventure, and I'm really enjoying it. So at the moment I don't feel like I want to stop, but this video is already quite long, so I'm stopping right here and yeah, taking a break before I continue recording the next part. So in the next video you will see me wearing the same clothes like I do now, so the same sweater, because yeah, for you it will be a few days, but for me it will be just a few minutes. Dearies, thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time, and as always, stay creative and be excellent to each other. Bye!